That's it. I'm on to it. What's up, guys? I'm Ryan with Epps Fishing, and on today's video we are back out here on the water. We're on Chickamauga Lake today, big bass factory here in Tennessee, and we're gonna be chasing down some ledge fish today. So that ought to be a good time. Y'all sit back, relax. Hope y'all enjoy today's video. Oh, baby. Swimbait. There we go.
Ah, 2.5, 3 pounds maybe, if that.
You have any idea how happy that makes me? Dude.
Back here.
And none of that's getting edited.
Okay.
Oh, any day now. God almighty.
I got fish to catch. Yeah, about 2.5.
There's little man's little fish.
Hey!
That's it. I'm on to it. I'm on to it now. Yep, that's a better fish. Yeah, it is.
Need help?
That's a good one. He's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah. Yep. If it's a bass.
Oh God! Oh, that's all you.
I knew when he
That's
started
all
to
you.
get back down, I thought.
Oh no!
Oh, it's getting iffy.
Oh, that's all you.
Oh!
I'll hold the rod for you.
Got he clobbered it.
That looks good.
It's a big one.
You slimy line to death.
Oh man.
God, I thought you jumped in the water.
My friggin' line.
Waypoint's probably more or less back here.
Uh-huh.
You should see the hole on your map. Surely you got that fancy map up there.
No, I actually don't see a hole.
It's got a little depression in the side of the point.
My God, it's down there.
It's where I'm casting. I can cast to it, you can't.
You need some food or something.
You don't like my approach? You going with me or you staying here?
I'm not staying here.
Just check.
I thought you were taking me to a community hole
Well,
with a pile of fish in it. We was gonna run everybody else off, claim glory.
like I said, good catch.
we go.
Decent one.
There we go.
My bite came from about the same area yours did. Close to both.
I almost wonder if we need to swing. Because we went over some fish. I think
What you got, Pedro?
he didn't choke it.
Pulled one out of the bottom of the fish's mouth. How about that?
Ain't that little. There you go. It's the best one of the day, yeah?
I think the last one goes.
More and I might be able to pull something out of my ass here. There we go.
I'd say you're close enough to be able to.
Oh, dude. Overfish.
Looks like a good time, don't it?
Oh yeah. Hey, that's when these big ones eat though. That's why I told them, I said, dude, it's about to be on.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude, you gotta be kidding.
Wow. That was nuts.
Yeah.
Look at that small.
You've got time to throw that one back and get another cast in.
We are fixing to have to run. Oh God.
I'm sitting down,
There you go.
See, I told you. They start eating right before these things.
Yeah, man.
Best fishing of your life right now.
Three.
There we go. Choking old shaky head. It's gonna take longer to get rain gear on. All right, guys, let's talk about what worked today. So, as you can see, we had to change venues here to do the old exit. Started pouring down rain, lightning, thundering. Bad deal. Time to get off the water and go head to the house. So, we packed everything up. Come back out here today on a different lake here. Going to talk about how we caught them. So, basically, anybody that's familiar with Chickamauga summer fishing, basically you have two different scenarios going on. You can fish shallow. There's a population of fish that live shallow all year long. Chickamauga is a great example of that. It's got a lot of grass, got a lot of docks, stuff like that, so you can go target those shallow fish. What we chose to do was to target the deep fish out there on the ledges. Tennessee River, notorious for deep fishing, ledge fishing in the heat of the summer, hot summer months. Now, the problem that you run into going down there, especially for a day trip to Chick, especially if you don't live near the lake and you don't have a ton of time to go out there and graph. I don't live real far from Chick. It's about a 2-hour drive for me, something like that, hour and a half. So you take these day trips down there, and it is hard to find the time to really get out there and graph and find some of this sneakier stuff. Because let me tell you something, that lake it's covered every day of the year. There are a billion boats out there graphing. There are a billion bass boats out there casting on stuff. It can be tough to find unpressured fish, and when you go down there, really you need to go down there with the mindset that you're going to be fishing pressured fish, period. If you can get your mind right and think of it in those terms, you can have a lot better day out there. It's really easy to get frustrated out on that lake because there are it's so popular, and the notoriety that it's gotten, and for good reason. But it is very easy to get out there and get discouraged. Very easy. But basically what we did, there's so many miles of ledges and stuff out there. And the problem is, even if you go out there and you say, I'm going to target these high percentage areas, in terms of on the ledges and on the deeper stuff, I'm gonna target these abnormalities on the ledges and stuff, which is typically, what you would do to find these fish out there, these high percentage areas. Well, those areas are community holes, okay, for the most part. So, like I say, to find some of that sneakier stuff, up off the ledges and stuff like that, you really have got to spend some time down there. And unfortunately, that's just not something we can go down there and do every day. So our game plan for the most part was to target more of these community holes, and we were able to put some fish in the boat. I'm not going to say it was easy. We spent a whole lot of the day out there graphing around and not finding a whole lot, just bouncing around a few community holes and trying to find some stuff up off the ledges and stuff like that, and some grass edges, but things just weren't clicking. We put a few fish in the boat midway through the day on a community hole there, a big community hole, and just kind of that kind of let us establish what depth and stuff those fish were holding in generally. Things started clicking a little bit, but it stayed tough pretty much throughout the day. Now, the turning point to all that, there were several factors there that led to us catching those fish there at the end. And I think that's a great thing for y'all to understand. The spot that you all saw us catch them there at the end is the same spot that we targeted earlier in the day. Those fish were there, okay? They were there all day. We had some variables there at the end that really got that bite to pick up. And we just got lucky on that deal. We caught a few fish there earlier, but it wasn't lights out, okay? What you saw run into there at the end of the day is we pulled back in on that spot. And you see me fish around there, and I pick up the first fish there on a Carolina rig. I think Jesse caught one on a Shakey head or something. Not really sure, but the bite still wasn't extraordinary right there. We had another boat pull in on the opposite side of that little area to us, to where they could still access that same area. We were pretty much fishing the same area. They were just fishing one side of it. We were fishing the other side. And they started catching a few fish. And it took a minute for me to realize what they were doing, and they were live baiting. Looked like they were throwing some shad around out there. And those shad got that school fired up. You know, makes sense. You want to get some bass fired up really quick, you throw the real deal out there. All right. The more that they were chunking those shad around out there and catching them, it got a lot easier for us to catch them on the artificials. We started getting a few more bites. The more they would get that school of fish fired up with the live bait, the more we were starting to catch them doing our deal. So we kind of got lucky in that sense. They really fired that school of fish up for us, in a sense. You know, that school of fish right there, heavily pressured. You know, we just came off of that FLW, that huge tournament that they had that Jacob Wheeler won. So, you know, that was only a few days prior to us going out there. And I know that spot right there is one of the areas that got hammered really hard. So we're talking about extremely pressured fish, okay? But they got those fish fired up on the live bait, and we were able to benefit from that just by being in the right place at the right time when they got that school fired up. Now, even with the live bait, it wasn't lights out, okay? You know, they were chucking those live baits around, and we started catching a few fish, but it wasn't, you know, it wasn't just every cast. Now, what really got that bite fired up, and you can see it happen in the video, you started seeing that front roll in. That storm started to roll in from down towards the nuke plant down there. It's where you see it coming in from. And really heavy storm, had a lot of winds in there with it, and you can see that front start to come in. Now, that's one thing, you know, I'm not sure that everybody agrees on how pressure changes, you know, like when a front comes in or anything like that, how those barometric pressure changes affect fish. I think we can all agree that a pressure change affects them. Now, everybody disagrees on rising and falling, which one's better and all that crap. And for the most part, I tend not to worry about that, you know. I know for me, generally, the bite usually picks up right before a storm or something like that comes through. Generally for me, that bite does pick up. And when you saw that big front coming in, and the more that front pushed in through there and got closer and closer, those fish started feeding heavy. We started getting, I think I caught, you know, 3 or 4 there in really short order. So that was the two big things. It was the same area, it was the same spot, it was the same school of fish that you see in a lot of this video. The difference is the live bait coming in there and firing that school up, a very pressured school, that live bait firing them up from that boat over there next to us, and then the icing on the cake was the front coming in my opinion. That front came in, and those fish really got aggressive feeding there. You know, if we could have stayed there and you know, not worried about getting throttled by some lightning, I think we would have really whacked them right there. I mean, it was getting really good there at the end. But fish ain't worth dying over. So we decided to pack up and get on out of there and head back to the house. Now, you all saw me catch fish on a few different baits throughout the video. I know we caught a couple fish on a Carolina rig. I think Jesse caught a few on a jig, bigger shaky head, some stuff like that. Caught one on a swim bait, and even caught a catfish on a swim bait. I will say that is not the first catfish that has broke my heart down there on that lake. It feels really good till you feel those things digging and rolling, and you realize what you got there, and yeah, that's a heartbreaker. But there was one bait for me that I did most of my damage on there in the later stages of that video, which I think was really the big player in the day for me anyway. And let's just go ahead and talk about it right here. Shaky head. All right, now this one that you're seeing right here, that is a Berkley shaky head. It's just a ball head, simple shaky head. Okay, now the size shaky head that I was using, we're fishing water anywhere from 20-25 foot deep, 18 to 25 in that range right there. So I've got a 3/8 ounce shaky head on there. Not overly difficult to keep that bait on the bottom and work it like you want to, and still keep a smaller finesse profile. Now the worm that I was throwing on my shaky head, this is a Strike King Super Finesse worm. That's their 7-inch finesse worm. It's a Elaztech. This is an outstanding worm on a shaky head. The great thing about the Elaztech material is it's very buoyant, okay, which really shines on a shaky head, okay? And I think it becomes even more important to have a real buoyant worm on a shaky head when we're talking about one that, for the most part, like this Berkley, is just a ball head. All right, it's not like a spot sticker that's got a flat bottom on there to help that bait stand. Okay, this is just a basic run-of-the-mill ball head shaky head. Okay, so that buoyancy of that worm will help to hold that bait up when you've got it down there on the bottom, and helps it look a lot better and perform like it's supposed to. Now, to rig this worm on this shaky head, you're just going to take the tip of the worm right there, you're going to go down, and I go about 3/16 down into that worm, something like that. Turn it, push it up on your keeper right there, then you're going to go back, and I just barely expose that hook out the other side. Okay, just like that. And you're throwing that out there. That sucker should be sitting on the bottom, roughly like that. And I'm just shaking that worm, dragging it a little bit, shaking that worm on a semi-slack line, and you know, it's just pulsing that tail back there. And this is a technique that will work year-round. It's a technique that will catch spotted bass, smallmouth, largemouth. It'll catch them all. Very, very good finesse technique to master and have in your boat right there. All right, so that was my big player, was the shaky head out there on Chick. But that's all I got for y'all today, guys. If you like the videos, make sure you go hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit that notification bell. That's going to let you all know when I put out all my new videos. If you got any questions or comments, feel free to leave those in the comment section down below. I will get back to y'all with any answers I can give you. Until next time, y'all make some time. Get out there on the water and catch you a few. I'm Ryan Epps. Y'all have a good one.